Hi, friends. I'm going to guess that you are teaching a lot of different people who have a lot of different interests in different styles of music. Some of those styles you feel very confident about, right? Some of them are like, yeah, I sing this and I know how it goes and I know the culture and I know the aesthetics and I know all the stuff. Some of it, not so much. For instance, if you are a classical singer or you are a choral singer or you are a music theater singer, you may not feel super confident about teaching your singer-songwriter. So today I'm going to talk about some ideas that are specifically for your singer-songwriters and your band singers, people who are very much in the popular music realm. I'm going to give you 4 ideas that are both for your client and for you, and hopefully will help you feel confident really being of service to these clients, because I know that's what you live for. My name is Meredith Colby. I am the author of Money Notes, How to Sing High, Loud, Healthy, and Forever, which introduces Neuro-Vocal, a way to approach singing for popular styles that is based on brain science. I coach singers one-on-one, and I also provide professional training for voice teachers and coaches. If you'd like more information, go to my website, neurovocal.com. So let's get right to it. I'm going to give you 4 ideas to help you today with your clients who sing popular styles, band singers, singer-songwriters. Thing number 1 is function, not sound. In the theatrical styles of like music theater and classical, we have been taught to make a particular kind of a sound that is in keeping with the aesthetics of that genre. That really doesn't apply for popular singers. And it can be hard to remember that, especially because there's certain sounds that we want to hear as voice instructors, right? But you have to remember that you are listening with your brain. You are not listening with your ears. And your brain has tuned itself to a certain way of listening. So it can be really hard to extricate yourself from that idea, but I'm going to encourage you to do that today, because in popular styles, we're not always looking for a specific kind of a sound. Now, does your client want a particular kind of sound? Great. Help them get that. But it should come from them and not you. And that leads us to this thing which we call authenticity. In popular styles and for singer-songwriters, it's really important that they sound authentic, which makes some people go, ew, I get that. But it's something to keep in mind. What does authentic mean? It can mean different things. If you are really wanting to truly find your authentic artistic voice, you should reach out to Jess Baldwin, because Jess Baldwin works on the deep dive with people on what their true artistic authentic voice is. Short of that, though, let's just say your teenager who is loving Olivia Rodrigo. So for her, that sounds authentic. It feels real to her. It touches her. That's what she's reaching for. And in that case, we are looking for something that is natural, speech-like. That's the kind of sound we're looking for. And to get that, we're looking for a natural vocal function rather than a sonic outcome. So let's think about an ah vowel. Think about the different kinds of ah sounds that happen in different genres. A rock singer, a bluegrass singer, indie singer-songwriter, a hip-hop singer. These people are all going to present these vowels in different ways. And so we're not looking for a particular, this is what an ah sound is. We're looking for a natural vocal sound, and then kind of whatever ah comes out is going to be fine. If it's reaching the goal of the singer, it's fine. Now, we're going to go to number 2, which I'm calling it check your belt. So check your belt. Be aware that this is a term that we tend to use really freely. And I just want to throw this out to you that the word belt is very conceptual, and we kind of base it on our background and what we think we understand by the word belt, but that's not really an applicable term in popular styles. So your singer-songwriter, your indie singer, your band singer, they may not have even heard of the word belt. And if you introduce that word to them, you may be also bringing with it certain aesthetic qualities that may or may not be applicable to the singer that you're working with. You may even find that using the word belt limits the client in certain ways. So just be aware of using that word and maybe finding some other words or a different kind of a word to communicate with this kind of a client. And the other thing is, pop styles does not equal belting. To say I want to sing with a popular style sound does not mean I want to bring my M1 as high as possible. It does not mean belt or high mix necessarily. There are a lot of singers who don't use that sound at all. There are a lot of singers who use very light tones or who are wanting to be more melodic or use a lot more embellishments. That kind of rich tone that we often associate with popular styles is not necessarily applicable for that singer. And again, this is very individual, right? I keep coming back to this over and over. It's very individual. So for instance, take your client's temperature. Do they actually want to belt? I mean, if your person comes in and says, I love Ariana Grande or Sam Smith or Phoebe Bridgers, I love Beyonce, I love Billie Eilish, I love Norah Jones, somebody like that, do you really, they don't want it. They do not want to belt. So A, don't use the word belt, and B, let's make sure that's actually the sound that they want. Suggestion number 3, use a microphone. use a microphone. Oh, and use a microphone. By the way, did I mention use a microphone? Microphones are a big deal. I'm like the dog that won't let go of the bone with the microphone. You don't have to do everything on a microphone. Don't worry about doing your whole lesson on a microphone. You can do like your exercises and your skill building and your blah, blah, blah without a microphone. But once your client gets to the singing part, they should be on a microphone. If you're teaching online, they should own a microphone. It's not that expensive. If they were a guitar player, they'd have to invest in a guitar, so they should invest in a microphone and a little speaker. It's really, really important because your brain starts to relate differently to the sounds that you're making based on what it hears. And it's going to hear things differently when you hear amplification. I've had so many voice teachers say to me, it was so cool. Once my students started singing on a microphone, everything was so much easier. Yeah. Because that's the genre. The genre is literally based on amplified sounds. So that's number 3. Get a mic. And then the last thing is, please be aware of the desired outcome for your client or the desired outcome for your lesson. Many of us came up with this sort of master apprentice version of a voice lesson where we do the warm-ups and then we sing the song and then our voice teacher says, fix this, fix this, fix this. And then we go back and we do the song again and we try to make the corrections that that person has given us to do. That's very applicable for a genre that has a really specific desired outcome. But with popular styles, that's just not the deal. So I'm going to suggest to you that if that is kind of the way you naturally have been doing it because that's what was modeled for you, that you experiment this week with kind of let's move out of that space so that instead of you being the person to say, okay, fix this, fix this, fix this, that you teach your client to self-assess, that you maybe even record them and play it back for them. What do you think of that? Or you heard them straining on a high note and you go, when you sang that part where you said, I don't see you, how did that feel to you? Teach your client to self-assess. And then when the client says, oh, when I sang that part, it felt kind of tight and it sounded kind of screechy to me, you just prompted that person to self-assess. So good for you. And then they gave you that feedback. And now it's your job to say, how do you want that to sound? And then the person says, I don't know how I want it to sound, but I don't want it to feel like that. You're like, great. Here's some suggestions. Then you help guide them to an easier feeling sound. So with that model, you have allowed the client to sing their song. You have helped them to self-assess. You have given them a tool that will help them when you're not around. And you have empowered that singer to take another step toward understanding their own instrument and the skill of singing. So those are my 4 suggestions today. Listen for function, not sound. Let go of the idea and the language of belting. Use a mic, use a mic, use a mic, and help your client learn to self-assess. I'm Meredith Colby. Have a great week.